The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. I have hats, I have t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, water bottles, notebooks, you name it, I've got it. The description and the link for that will be in the description of this episode. Also, right now, if you use the promo code WELCOME, I will give you 5% off of your first purchase. That's the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link, Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans, as it is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. Now, let's start the show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I have a phenomenal guest for us this week, but first and foremost, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. I have hats, I have clothing, I have t-shirts, I have everything you can think of. I have great hoodies for this wonderful fall weather we're coming into to get you ready for football Friday nights and everything like that. The link will be in the description of this episode. Also, when you go there, if you use the promo code WELCOME, you will get 5% off your entire first purchase just for going through this podcast here. So thank you, everybody. Once again, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store, the link is in the description. That being said, my guest today, I've known this man for a little while. I've worked for him a little bit. He is an IFBB professional bodybuilder. He has a lot of online businesses, ebooks. This man does it all. I don't know how he came up with time to sit and talk to me for a little bit. Drew Mitchell joins the show. Drew, what's up, big dog?
How's it going, buddy? I'm awesome. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good, man. Hey, thanks for wanting to come on. I'm glad we could actually get back on and talk about this for a little bit here. So I want to hit this one a little bit pretty hard. I mean, you came up in the fitness world. You've been a personal trainer. So take us through a little bit of your fitness journey for the people that don't know you.
Well, here, what I would like to share for anyone watching, because a lot of people just see the background, they see the trophies, the medals, the pro card, and they don't really know where the journey began. Mm-hmm. And it started out, man, bodybuilding. I was the skinny little runt, 13, 14 years old. I was on some great sports teams. Came from Marion, Ohio, a little farm town, surrounded by cornfields. But the amazing, vast talent of awesome athletes in that small little town is insane. So I was always on some great sports teams. Sorry, my dog's in the background. You're crazy. Always on some great sports teams. So I was always the skinny little runt. And then my brother, he was this all-American athlete, good-looking, charismatic, confident, and I felt like the black sheep. So in all honesty, man, bodybuilding, what working out and bodybuilding did for me is just it gave me self-belief, it gave me self-confidence, a positive self-image. And like I said, I really got into it at 14 years old. I saw my first Flex Muscle magazine. I actually have it right over there. I'm going to have to grab it for you, bud. All right. Yeah, I'll get it.
Go grab it. Get it. Yeah.
So I was 14 years old. My buddy Chris Covert brought this. It was the last period of the day, and we're like sitting around 10, 15 minutes before the final buzz or bell rings before we go catch the bus. And like I'm flipping through this, like there's probably like 5 of us huddled around and looking at these freaks, like, oh my God, what is that? And there's this bodybuilder, Lee Priest, who's 5'4", one of my favorite bodybuilders ever. And I was 5'4" at the time. Although he weighed about 250, I weighed like 98 pounds soaking wet. But there's something that I connected with. Like, he's 5'4", I'm 5'4". I'm like, wow, if he can do it, maybe I can. So I set a crazy goal at the age of 14. I want to become an IFBB professional bodybuilder. Friends joke, like, laughed at me, like, mocked me. I'll never forget it. But that whole process, and that transformative like journey that I went on, naturally, when I graduated high school at age 18, and here comes the real world, I'm like, what do I want to do? Like, I had done stuff, growing up in Ohio, like baling hay and worked at a car wash and just some labor jobs and stuff. But like, I'm like, what do I want to do? And like, the only thing I really was passionate about was working out. So I got my first personal training certification at age 18, Columbus, Ohio. And because I knew like what bodybuilding, working out had done for me as far as the self-confidence, building a positive self-image. So I think that was my whole motivation initially. Like, I love to do it. And if I could help other people gain confidence in themselves, like, and get paid for it, it was a win-win. So that was the beginning journey. So I wasn't confident when I got into it. I kind of got into it to build confidence.
Yeah, I think I find that a lot with a lot of people that I talk to that start their fitness journey. They're either super confident about it, and then that's why they're still working on it, or they're trying to build that confidence. I like the building that confidence. I was kind of like you. I was a scrawny little runt when growing up, but I was also 6'5". Like I was tall, but I graduated high school at 155 pounds at 6'5". I was just this little beanpole, and people kept ragging on me, calling me the Jolly Green Giant, string bean. I got all those. Yeah, kids are just amazing. But it motivated me through college to like start working on myself and getting myself better. And, I felt better after going to the gym. I don't think a lot of people realize that. I haven't been in a while, I'll admit it. But the 13-year-old keeps me running ragged. He is my workout now. I don't need a gym. He is a tank. And, but yeah, so now, fast forward to where you're at now. You're an IFBB Pro. What does that look like for you on a day-to-day?
I mean, so now, obviously, what I've learned, again, through this whole journey is, because I've been in the fitness professional world for so many years now, almost 23 years, training other people, is that when people sit down and talk to me initially, like, oh yeah, they want to fit in a size 4, they want to look good on the beach, they just want to look good in their t-shirt, look good naked, whatever it is. What they don't understand is that we're going to start on the inside. So I think belief is everything. So I have a whole new approach with far as I follow the fruit to the root. For example, the fruit, if you look at a tree, the fruit is what you see on the outside, but what people don't really think about is the seed that went into the soil that initially sprouted up and grew a tree, then produced a fruit. So following the fruit to the root is like what seeds were placed into people's minds that they accepted, and then it began to grow and produce fruit on the outside, whether it be a mindset, a self-limiting belief, or if on the other spectrum of confidence. Where did that confidence come from? And a lot of it, you can trace it back to our childhoods. And for example, like most kids, I don't think they have, like, I'm very intentional in how I raise my son and what I say to him, as far as telling him, you can do anything. I believe in you. You're a champion. You're fearless. I'll have him do I am affirmations every day before he goes to school. And that's just so powerful. And like, but that wasn't spoken into me. A lot of us heard things like, oh, you'll never amount to anything. Or money doesn't grow on trees. You're lazy, good for nothing. And like, words are seeds spoken into you, and our mind is like fertile soil. So those seeds that are planted into you, over time, like, remind ourselves of them, and they start to like fertilizer. They start growing and producing fruit in our lives, where all of a sudden now we're adults and we don't understand this. I'm speaking to myself now. I didn't understand why I always self-sabotage myself, because I felt like I didn't deserve success, or like I don't deserve it. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not destined for greatness. So I had to follow the fruit to the root. I had one of my coaches that I worked with. He asked me, like, why do you seek this? Why do you constantly, have you ever asked yourself what this comes from? And I'll just go ahead and give you an idea, example. I used to self-sabotage my relationships. Like, I would meet good females, for example, and they were great. Relationship was great, but maybe I cheated on them. And it's like, it got to the point where, like, dude, like, you're in your 30s now. Like, do you want to be a single bachelor your whole life? You know, like, you have a resume. Oh, I've dated all these hot chicks, but what happened? You were the root cause of destroying all of them, and you destroyed them all, like, the same way. So I had this life coach. He's one of, like, Tony Robbins' top guys, and he asked me, he's like, what does that stem from, man? Like, what does that come from? What? And one of it, like, my mother died when I was young. I was 7 years old. She had breast cancer. So I think as a child, especially a boy, my father was a Vietnam vet, really tough, strict upbringing. It didn't really show us love. So I lost that attention from a female, from a psychological standpoint, like Freud or something. So I always sought out the attention of women. And then ultimately it got to the point, but I lost my mom. So that was like, okay, I don't want to get too close to them, because eventually if I lose them, like, I remember the pain that I felt. So it's like, I don't ever want to experience that pain again. So the easiest way to prevent that is to destroy it and stop it from happening. So, like, I didn't understand that until I spoke to a life coach, and he was like, dude, you got to ask yourself why you keep repeating this pattern. And so I finally, once I realized that, you can uproot that weed and then plant in what you do want. And same thing with, like, health and fitness. You know, like, why are you overweight? You usually can trace it back to a trauma in childhood, you know, or maybe you're an emotional eater. Someone told you, oh, you're just fat and lazy. And then now you're an adult and you believe that you're fat and lazy, so you never do anything to overcome that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. I can't tell you how many people still tell me to this day. I've been doing comedy 9 years now. You know, I'm still working on it, still considered an up and comer. But, you know, I keep telling them, you know, I'm going to be a professional comedian. I'm going to be a full-time professional comedian. You're not going to stop me. I mean, keep telling me that I'm not going to do something, and it makes me want to do it even more. That's just always been my mindset to, like, hey, like, I don't care if you think I can't do it. I'm going to show you that I can. A lot of people told me, this speaking with the fitness journey, that I couldn't get to up past 200 pounds. You know what I mean? I mean, at 6'5", that's a decent weight. I'm 205 now. You know what I mean? Like, it's... Tell me I can't do something. I dare you. Tell me I can't do something, and I'm going to prove you wrong every time. And I love that mindset in people, to see that switch flip. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To realize that, hey, I can do this.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that kind of transitions me perfectly into what I wanted to talk about next. You have a lot of online coaching businesses where you know, we talked about this before we started recording. You know, we're starting inside, so you've worked on the outer appearance. So what are you doing now? What's this online venture you got going on now?
Yes, thank you. So, well, one, so I have a couple businesses. One, DrewMitchellFitness.com. It strictly started out as just a health and fitness page, you know, where I do online coaching. Meal plans, supplementation programs, training, cardiovascular programs. But now I also offer mindset coaching, and because I'll tell you what, people have actually gravitated to that so much. I mean, you're in the fitness industry a little bit, like like, for example, we're going back to when I was 18, I didn't know it. I had just become a personal trainer and a psychologist at the same time, you know? I didn't realize that I was actually a therapist as well, because these people, you start seeing them 3 days a week on average, and you might be that only source of positive inspiration and motivation and positivity in their life all week. And so they begin to trust you and to confide in you, and they open up to you. And I've been very fortunate to have a blessed career in the fitness industry. Like, I chased down, like, top clubs like Lifetime Fitness and Equinox and places like South Beach and LA and Las Vegas. And I was very fortunate to learn from some of the greats in the industry, from trainers and just fitness professionals with more abbreviations after their name than I can even count, you know, and doctorates and PhDs and all this stuff. And, you know, I was very fortunate to be able to charge, like, a high price to work with people, you know, from professional athletes, also professional business people. And it's like we all have something that we're struggling with. Maybe we have a multi-million-dollar business, but maybe we're not a good father and we're not there for our children. Or maybe we're a good father, but like our relationship with our wives is absent. Or maybe we're really good with like our family, but like our career isn't where we want it to be. And like all these clients, after working with them for a while, they start opening up to you and revealing to you like, oh man, like my relationship with my wife sucks, or my relationship with my husband sucks, or, like my kids don't talk to me, and it's like, or I want to break out of corporate America. I have this idea to build my own business, but I'm afraid. And it's like, so that's when I started to realize like, man, like I'm training these people's bodies, but a lot of times the reason why their body isn't responding is because there's some kind of self-limiting belief that's preventing them from being disciplined over here. Because how you are here is how you are over here. Like, if you're slacking in one area, a lot of times you might be slacking in other areas. And so I just I love coaching people. I love coaching people to believe in themselves. I actually just created, it's called the Belief Blueprint. Again, kind of following the fruit to the root and understanding like words are seeds. And that's one of my businesses, like I have a clothing business called I Am, because I believe I am are the two most powerful words in the human vocabulary, because what you say after I am can shape your entire life. Because you say, I am powerful, I am a champion, I am a warrior, I am fearless. Like your beliefs dictate the action that you take. So if you have like self-limiting beliefs or low belief about yourself, like, who am I to think I could achieve greatness? So if I have negative beliefs, I'm going to take little action to achieve my results. So if I take little action, I'm going to produce little results. All that's going to do is reinforce my little beliefs that I'm not destined for greatness. Now, all of a sudden, if I can transform my beliefs, like I am destined for greatness. Everything I do succeeds. I am blessed. I am highly favored. I am fearless. I'm a champion. I'm a millionaire. You start believing that. Now, all of a sudden, your belief creates this momentum that you're going to take massive action. And when you take massive action, you're going to produce massive results. And once you produce massive results, that just reinforces that powerful belief. And it's just like a snowball effect. And it's bigger and more powerful as it rolls down that hill.
That's it's a lot to digest there, but that's awesome. I'm glad to see, doing something that you believe in. And I got to ask you this, is that where you came up with the kind of the nickname for yourself, the Destined Legend? Is that kind of what started that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had a dream. I don't know if you remember this when I met Mike at a weekend seminar. I was teaching TNT, Training the Trainer, 7 Keys of Explosive Growth for the Fitness Professional. And I was sharing like my DL brand, which stands for Destined Legend. I had a dream. I was in high school, I believe, like maybe a freshman or sophomore in high school. And I had a dream where, like, because I didn't believe in myself. So, like, something happened mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, where, like, all of a sudden, like, this culmination of events took place in me. I started to believe in myself. And I had this dream saying, like, I always felt like it was the, like, voice of God or the universe saying, like, hey, you are a destined legend. Like, you're destined for greatness. And like, and it's like, you receive it, you accept it. Like, okay, cool. But like, okay, what do I do with that? And then I also heard like, but everybody is destined legend. Like everybody is destined for greatness. And I feel like one of my missions in life is to help people rediscover that and to help reignite that in people. And if I can plant that passion inside those people, because like life, man, let's just be real. People in the 9 to 5, the rat race, you just get weighed down by society. And I feel like a lot of corporate jobs will pay you just enough to not leave, and people work just hard enough to not get fired.
Yeah.
And it's like, but what that does after time is it weighs on your spirit, where all of a sudden, like when we were young and ambitious and we believed like, oh, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be the president of the United States of America. I want to be a major league athlete. I want to be, a stand-up comedian who makes his living, a 6-7 figure income earner. Like all of a sudden that weight of the world weighs you down and you stop believing in yourself. And so, yeah, the destined legend, man, came in and it's like, we're all destined for greatness. It's just like, we just have to remember who we are and what our passion is, and to just stay on that course, come hell or high water, and not give up on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the reason, that this podcast started was, to help further my comedy career. It's another idea I had, I wanted to do, and been rolling with it, you know what I mean? And right now, currently, the show's heard in 36 different countries and over 818 cities, you know what I mean? And people were like, why are you doing this? That's not going to work. Why? There's so many podcasts out there. What are you trying to prove? That I can do it, and I'm going to do it. And I love that mindset, and I the destined legend. It's funny because you met my wife briefly. She was so excited that I was having you on the show. Like she was like, I don't know why you haven't reached out to him sooner to have him on the show. I was like, yeah, but we're both busy. I have this. I have my merch store. I have my comedy career. I have you and the family and everything, son's football games. It's everyone's like, why do you make yourself so busy? Because if I'm busy and I keep myself busy and working towards something that I want to do, that I won't fall into like, well, I'll just sit and let's just watch some TV, and then we're just gonna get lazy, and then I know I need to do some marketing for this, but I'm binge watching this show now. Now I'm sucked into this, and then it creates laziness. So I try to keep myself busy, and now this fixer-upper house that we're working on too as well is keeping me more than busy enough that you guys can probably have seen on my TikTok page and everything like that. That was another thing, I started a TikTok page because I fought that for the longest time.
I did too.
Just because I was like, I don't see the point in this. I finally downloaded it. Because I was working at an RV dealership, and my boss would come out all the time and try to send me like these TikTok videos that he found that he thought were funny on our downtime. And I'm like, dude, I can't open that. I don't have the app. Like, So I finally just downloaded it just so I could be like, all right, I got it. I can watch it now. And then it turned into me starting to make them. And again, it's another thing. People are like, why do you waste time with stupid little apps? Well, there's a guy in Columbus, Ohio named Jason Banks who just became and got signed by a huge comedy record label because of his TikTok. Like it's another avenue that I'm taking, and I'm on that journey with what I want to do. And I don't think I can be busy enough. I'm sure you feel the same way. You got like 4 or 5 different businesses you got going on right now too as well.
Absolutely. I love it. It keeps me going.
Yeah, and I know the sun keeps you going too as well. I see all your pictures on Facebook and everything like that, and dude, it's great, and now my son's into sports. I can't remember how old your son is, but I don't think he's 5. Do you have him in any sports?
Not organized sports yet. We play football in the backyard. We wrestle. We play t-ball. He loves soccer. He loves being active, but we haven't put him in any organized sports yet.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, like I know we had to push back this recording a couple days because my son's football game ran late, and I do apologize about that. But I trying to instill in him that team sports is going to help him too as well. Later on, and build a bunch of stuff in that. You also, I want to touch on this real quick since we're running down near the end of the episode here. You also help coach wrestling a little bit too as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got involved with the youth wrestling around here, Jackson Township, up here in Massillon, Ohio last year. I love working with kids, man. I love working. I've had some coaches over my childhood that just changed my life and actually help me believe in myself. So it's like, I think we can touch the youth and work with them when they're young and so able to be molded. It's so valuable, such a valuable resource to have somebody that believes in you as a kid.
Yeah. So how's that going with you with the wrestling? Is there any tournaments coming up or anything like that for the kids, or is it just more kind of like the workout portion of it for them?
Yeah. So, I was working as one of the assistant coaches, so going in with them every night during practice, and actually getting in there and actually wrestling with them. Like, obviously, I'm not going hardcore with them, but I being on the defense, like letting them attack me and just put, I love it because one, like, I'm not going to let them score on me easily, but at the same time, letting them know, hey, this is how hard you got to work. You know, like one thing you're talking about team sports with your son. One thing that I teach them, hey, yes, we're on a team, but I love wrestling because it's so humbling in the fact that you're the only one out there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's you and one other guy or one other girl. You know, for the girls wrestling in the U.S. is growing enormously, and I love that for the sport. But I let them know, hey, listen, like, if you're on a football team and, like, somebody misses their assignment, you can blame them. Like, hey, Mike, you missed your block. You know, and like, but hey, when you're out there on a wrestling mat, like, you can't blame anybody but yourself. And I tell them that, hey, listen, guys, you're going to have to take ownership for yourself and accountability. If you go out there on a mat, everybody wants to win. But if you lose, you can't blame somebody else. You know, like, you have to look in the mirror and be like, better man beat me. And so what are you going to do about it? So it's my responsibility as a coach to help teach you the moves and the counter moves and the defense and get you conditioned. But you go out there, you're going to have mental toughness. You're going to have to take risks. And if you get beat, you're going to have to be honest and be like, hey, they beat you. Like, no excuses. So, I mean, I teach them these principles, you know, hard work, discipline, commitment, taking ownership. And, you know, and hopefully they'll remember this as they get older and like, oh, I remember Coach Drew, and, you know, and like, he really nailed that into me. Like, if I want to be the best, I got to work for it. And can't make excuses. And so, yeah, I took it outside of that because not a lot of kids wrestle year round. I mean, I know a lot of youth sports nowadays, goodness gracious, they'll do it year round. I like the idea of kids experimenting different sports, see what they like the best, and being on different teams and being with their friends and stuff. But also, I knew that a lot of these kids that were wrestling, they weren't going to do other sports. So me with my fitness background, I'm like, hey, man, we're going to have a 12-week sports strength and conditioning class, you know, that for you guys who want to get involved, one, we're going to be doing conditioning and sports stuff, but I also challenged them mentally as well. So it was just it was the first time I did it with them. They loved it. Their parents loved it. So, you know, we'll see if I do it again this coming season, but it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, I dabbled in a little bit of coaching for swimming this past summer, not this one that just happened, but previous year in 2021. And you know what? It's great because just like wrestling, you know, swimming, you're the only ones out there. And I can't tell you how many kids were like, man, you're just picking on me with this workout. Why are you pushing me so hard? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? It's like, because I can see what you can't.
Yes.
You don't understand, okay? Because this team, it had kids anywhere from 8 to 18 years old, and there was about 96 kids on the team. So it was a big team, and they had me working with the high schoolers, just given my swimming background and everything like that. And they're like, oh, you're picking on it. Why do we got to swim this many yards today? Why do we got to do this? We got to meet in a couple days. It's like, yeah, you have a meet in a couple days. You have to get ready. But that's besides it. It's the summer league. It's meant to be fun. I get it. Also, yeah, that's what the head coach said. It was meant to be fun. I get, yeah, okay, but we're still going to work while we're doing it. But what are your goals for that? Huh?
I said winning's funner than losing.
Absolutely.
More fun. Sorry, I mean,
absolutely. But I asked one of them because she was always just like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I was like, I didn't ask you if you wanted to do it. It's part of the workout. What is your goal for this coming high school season? She goes, oh, well, I want to go to districts. Okay. What does your time need to be to go to districts? Oh, it needs to be a 26 in my 50 freestyle. All right. Where's it at? 27.5. All right. So we got to drop about a second and a half, a little bit over a second and a half off of your time to get you where you need to be. So what do you think is going to be more beneficial? You taking reps off with these laps or pushing yourself to where I know you can swim and I know you can do it and getting to districts this year? And she still fought me the entire season, every practice. Oh, I don't know. You're picking on me. You're picking on me. At the end of the season, she came up out of her 50. I didn't see her time. I wasn't looking at it. I was just focused on her. She got out. wrapped me in a big bear hug. I think it was because it was kind of chilly and I was the only one dry. And she didn't even dry off. And she was like, I just swam under 26 seconds.
Nice.
I was like, do you see why I pushed you all season? She was like, it wrapped it all together for her. And she was just like, it makes sense now that's why you were focused on me. He's like, yeah, I knew you could do it. I saw it in you. You just had to believe in yourself. And look what you did. You swam under 26 seconds. You now already in Summer League have a better time to make districts. And you can only make it better in your high school season. I'm just saying, I knew what I was talking about. And like it's rewarding to see that for me. You know, that it kind of clicked. All right, this is why he was doing it. This is what I need to do. This is, okay, makes sense now. And you know what? Out of 96 kids, if I affected 2 or 3, that's a win for me, and I know I did.
Absolutely. I'll never forget. I'll share a quick story. I know we're limited on time. So I was in a Little League World Series, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're probably like 10 years old. Like I said, I was always the smallest kid on all my teams. I was a runt. And I had a baseball coach, Nick Hajar, and I scored the winning run in like the bottom of the 6th inning. I think we only played 6 innings back then, 6 or 7 innings. And the whole team tackled me at home plate because now we're going to advance on in the Little League World Series. And my coach, Nick, picks me up, and he's like, see, big surprises come in small packages. And, like, I'll never forget that. Like, it was something, might sound corny now, but big surprises come in small packages. That's all about belief. And it's like something he said to me as a 10-year-old I'll never forget, and it inspired me to start believing in myself. So, yeah, I mean, having a good coach, man, I mean, what you did for that girl, she'll never forget that. So, yeah, I love coaching kids.
It's amazing, and yeah, it's such a rewarding season. I didn't get the chance to do it this past summer, but you know, I know some of them still text me like, "Hey, Coach Bono, like thanks for everything. You know, we're still doing your workout. Like we're still doing this, we're still doing that." I'm like, keep it up. I'm watching you guys. I'm looking at everything online. I'm watching your times. I'm making sure you make it to districts. I'm still kind of coaching you from not being able to coach you, but keep up the good work. You know what I mean? And it like I said, it's just so much fun to see them succeed and know that they can still reach out, even though I'm not their coach anymore.
Yeah, 2 of my wrestlers messaged me on. Of course, they have TikTok.
Of course,
they TikTok. Hey, coach, I found you. I'm following you. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, so be careful. You never know who's watching.
Oh, absolutely, that's for sure. But like you said, we are running down near the end of the episode. I do got to get this segment in because if I don't, the manager of the podcast will kill me. It is the Fast Fitty 5. 5 random questions from the wonderful manager of this podcast, Johnny Fitty Falcone. And Drew, if you listened to the show before, these have nothing to do with what we've been talking about this entire time. For the new listeners, kind of rapid fire, but Drew, you can elaborate if you need to. So if you're ready for these questions, man, it's
rapid fire. Let's do it.
All right. Question number 1. Would you rather own a Subway or a Wendy's?
Subway.
All right. Question 2. Are gift card...
Make it Wendy's.
Wendy's? We're changing it? We're changing it to Wendy's?
If my son, he'd be mad at me if I had an option to own a Subway or Wendy's. I pick Subway.
Okay.
Now I have to think of them first.
Gotcha. All right. Question number 2. Are gift cards an overrated or underrated Christmas gift?
I think they're underrated.
Underrated. All right. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one for sure. Question number 3. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Because if we're talking about the chicken in an exact moment, he was an egg before he was a chicken, but you need a chicken before to hatch an egg. So does that make sense, or that can confuse you all further?
Hey, this is you're getting a glimpse into the mind of the manager of this podcast. He is phenomenal. All right. Question number 4. What's the worst problem? Having a flat tire or losing your wallet?
Ouch.
Yeah.
Losing your wallet.
Yeah. All right. And to wrap this up, probably the weirdest question we've had on this segment is orange a better color than yellow?
Is orange a better color than yellow? Yes. I like orange.
All right. It's kind of a fun way we like to wrap up the segments in the episodes. And man, these questions get more and more random. And I got to tell you, he doesn't send me these questions like weeks in advance so I can prepare for them. He sends them to me day of recording. So like I was reading these for the first time with you. So that's, I love it. And I think it's like, all right, I got this buddy, he's a comedian. Let me see if I can make him laugh while we're trying to get through this segment, because these questions get so random, and it's just a fun way to end the episode. But I also give every guest this opportunity, Drew. I'm going to give you the same opportunity here. I'm going to give you about a minute. The floor is yours. Anything you want to promote, anything like that. If you got a great message or anything like that, the floor is yours, brother.
All right, 60 seconds. First and foremost, again, thanks for having me on here. Anyone listening, first off, whether it's your body or your mind, go to drewmitchellfitness.com. I'd love to help you take your life to the next level. Also, I'm going to share with you, and this for you, Mike, but for anyone who's listening with a big goal. I used to write down my goals. Is just write them out. This is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to achieve. And then I started writing like, I will achieve it. And then I did this before I won my pro card last year. I wrote it as if I already achieved it. Like, I am so happy now that I just won the National Bodybuilding Championships as a middleweight, and I am the new IFBB Pro. And there's something about writing it as if it's already occurred that it makes it stronger. It's no longer just like, oh, I hope I can do it. I did it. So belief is everything. Check out, Amazon probably next week. I'm going to have my new ebook out, The Belief Blueprint. Check it out, guys. But thanks for having me on your show, Mike.
Hey, not a problem, brother. Always great to talk to you.
You as well.
I love it when people have a good message to end the shows too as well. Just like that. That's awesome. It's a great way to end the show. So that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. As always, if you like the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me, and I will see y'all next week. The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by W Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankit Golf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but this is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rocket on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.